Guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and get this meeting started. It is presently August 21st, 2024. Good to be here with everyone. And our mission here is to pour into everyone as much as we can, share your knowledge, share your experience, and ultimately, as one of our core values, we say is pay it forward. So what you learn here, we just ask that, there's no charge for you to be here. Just pay it forward to someone else that may come to you down the line, whatever that might be. That's the mission. And so down at the very bottom, we have the reactions button down at the bottom where you're able to send out reactions. You also have the chat function where you can chat with each other individually, or you could, of course, chat with the whole group in there. Please feel free to ask any questions you have at all. And don't be afraid. The only silly question is the one unasked. On the screen here tonight, you'll have people that will range on screen and who are not on video that range from just starting out in the industry to seasoned vets who have been in the industry for more than 2 decades. And so the mission again is to make sure that the questions are answered to get you moved along as quickly as you can in your growth trajectory. Having the meeting rhythm that happens every Wednesday at 7, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, actually more than that. And so we've kept that rhythm going, and I know Skylar was just on here, but certainly Matthias, you've been pretty much on here every night from the time that you started with us back in last March, I believe, right? February.
I think I've missed three, maybe four in
And
the last year and a half.
I'm not talking February 2024. I'm talking 2023. So huge shout out to Matthias, man, for showing up every week and pouring into everyone, to our coaches, to our team members. And so, yeah, again, don't feel like you have to hold back on anything. And Matt Phillips, you don't need to be here. You're already out and super successful with your business. You've already shared multiple times why you do it. And I just, from the whole Asphalt Kingdom community and team, thank you for you as well pouring into this and paying it forward there, man. It means a lot. And, the universe provides us with dividends in interesting ways, I think, right? As long as you give without expecting, it's like kind of the law of attraction. I think that it all comes back to reward us. Of course, we're in the pavement management industry, and when we think of pavement management, we think about a variety of different things that can range anywhere from literally assessing a property and providing someone with a pavement assessment that is literally like a medical report or a report card for their parking lot, all the way up to being a company that can actually go and do a new installation that is $1 million installation plus. So when we think of pavement assessment all the way through to being an installation company, that's a pretty interesting thing for a lot of us on here. And I'm saying that because a lot of the time we end up mentally in this hamster wheel because of the things that we've learned from the past to get us to where we are in the present. And so what I hope that we can do in this meeting here today is maybe explore some of the ways that we can not only do the pavement assessments, but potentially work towards really growing a pavement management solutions business, or as we say, pavement asset management, keeping pavement safe, long lasting, and looking great. Raise your hand if you know what I mean, by the way, when we say pavement assessment on one side. Pavement assessment, which is just information on a parking lot that we're going to give to someone responsible for the pavement. Yeah, so pavement assessment is one thing where we're assessing it. It's info based, and it's a soft give to somebody who is responsible for those pavement assets. And it's generally not sitting there with a bunch of pricing attached to it, to be clear. That usually happens in the next stage, which is when you convert it to a proposal once you've built that know, like, and trust with the individual. And so what we can understand here is that whether you're self-performing on the projects, or whether you've got performance partners that are working with you on those projects to be able to execute, you should be able to spend some time becoming a master of your craft. And what I mean by that is, when you're speaking about applications or coatings or crack sealer or catch basins, or you're talking about the grade of asphalt, you're talking about subbase, you're talking about different kinds of pavement grades, when you're speaking about the way that concrete actually is it within a standard that needs to be applied, ADA compliancy, there's just a lot to unpack there. I think we would all agree, right? There's a lot. And becoming a master of the craft as it relates to pavement management, that's the difference that makes the difference. You see, a lot of us come into this industry and we go and we wing it. Has anybody ever, with their business, have you ever just gone out and started a business and just kind of winged it, as we say? Have you ever done that? Anyone in their life? I think so, right? And it's like, okay, well, winging it is great learning by, of course, going through the challenge and the adversity and all the pitfalls. That's learning. And I'm all about learning. But shit, man, if I could save you guys and we could save each other a lot of the pain that we would need to go through to get to that point on our own without the people in your circle to achieve that, if I can help you guys to fast track that, that's really, at the end of the day, what I think is important here. And so in order to identify what we need to be doing in order to get to that next stage of growth, that high vibration, to pop through it, to get to the next stage of growth, we need to understand where you are in your journey so that we can help you go through that friction point to get to the next stage. And so if we could just go around the board here, we're a small enough group tonight to be able to go around the board, maybe to kind of just, if you can explain in a short abbreviated version of kind of where you are in your journey, then that can really help us. And I don't want that only to be for people who are building businesses or growing businesses. I think this can apply to each and every one of us on here. Is where are we right now? And, you know, what is that kind of drumbeat at the moment that we're looking to move into that next stage of growth? So why don't Matt Phillips, can I call you on first, brother? Like, where, from a growth perspective, where are you right now? If you can just give everybody kind of your experience, where you are right now and kind of what that friction or high vibration point is for you.
Right now we've been doubling size it seems like at the beginning it was not quite double every year, but then about year 5, year 6, business started doubling. And when I say doubling, we did $70,000. Then the next year we did 140 or 150 in revenue. And now, I mean, I'll close this month out at almost $270,000 for this month in revenue. So I just want to say, and Judd, you know, I started with an AK 150, I think it was. That I got from you whenever it was. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm actually on a job. I'm up at a ski resort. I showed Judd earlier, we're doing a big parking lot, putting down 5,000 gallons in like 3 days. So you guys can, you know, imagine what that would be for you to do 5,000 gallons in 3 days. That's even a lot for me. I mean, normally we're doing, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 gallons per week. So it's a big project, big ski resort, big parking lots, several condominiums and HOAs up here. We've been up here for 2 weeks now, just putting down seal coat. So anyone that's starting out, just looking at what you could do. I run 3 seal coat rigs. Unfortunately, they're not air bosses, but if I was in the market to buy one, that'd be the 700 or 750. Is it what it is? Is that what you?
750, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that would be probably the one that I would do, and may, you know, in the next year or two. But yeah, I think it's just getting the information and stuff. And you know, Judd is pretty humble about it. I mean, I watched YouTube videos of you, Judd, when I started out, and I thought I could do this. And so that was the motivation. And do I need to be on here each week or whenever I can get on here? You know, not necessarily. I mean, it's not going to affect my business one way or the other if I miss or not. You would think that, but it does, because I get on here and I even pick up golden nuggets from people and hear things and just motivation. and, picking up, different opportunities. Sidewalk safety last week, I thought, that is something I could add. But anyway, I'm rambling, but I'm also watching my crew here seal coat. I'm driving, pulling the truck. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know if that answered your question or not, Judd, but
Yeah, it totally did. What would you say right now where you are in your success? What is the biggest friction point that you have right now to grow to the next level? Or do you even desire to grow even more from where you are? I mean, $250,000 in a month plus is a lot of dough to be rolling in. A lot of people don't do that in a year, Matt.
So friction, friction is trying to keep employees, training employees how to run equipment, getting the trust to let them, not to let them go out and do a job. Don't track seal coat on concrete, don't overspray, make sure corners and edges are cleaned. There's just a lot of things that you have to kind of watch for, but the biggest friction for me right now is finding and obtaining the right employees. So finding the workforce is the friction for me. But yeah, we're going to continue to grow and add more business as we can, buy more equipment.
It would seem to me that a big opportunity for you, Matt, is at the size that you're at right now. And this is an important note for everyone. I think this applies to no matter what size you're at, but the larger you get, the lowest hanging fruit that you probably have is figuring out how to make the business more profitable and to build enterprise value that is at a significantly higher number than those of the average, in quotes, asphalt maintenance and repair companies.
Correct. And there, you by mentioning that, it sparked, I honestly tried to start up the AK Dash this season, but my season took off, and so that is going to be my winter project, is getting converted over to AK Dash. I've got 10 years of customer base, trying to port that over, get that into place, and then just be able to, because my current system, I can't follow up. I can't do some of the stuff that I really like AK Dash that I like from the AK Dash system. So, but yeah, that's one of my, I guess, pitch point too, or a pain point that I've got going on right now.
Yeah, and it's normal. And I know that certainly I remember, Skylar, Skylar, are you busy right now? You're always
We're good.
busy.
We're loading hay on the farm, bro.
You're loading hay on the farm. So,
Yeah.
I remember when Skylar was like, past $1 million, like literally last October. What were you doing at the end of last year in revenue, Skylar? Million what?
For the total year,
Yeah.
1,050,000. It was right over 50,000.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and I remember you literally, like, it was like, I am going to do everything I can to understand my numbers better and to really understand how I could become more profitable and to build enterprise value with my company. And I remember you digging. I mean, you're still digging, but you're, understanding your numbers and the details of that is not just super crucial on each job, but really understanding what you're shooting for from a one-page strategic plan when you're setting up for your year ahead, so that you have a solid plan of what you're hunting, and then understanding your critical drivers with your KPIs is really important for each member of the company. But can you talk a little bit about what that transition was like for you when you went from kind of just going at it hard and working really hard to working hard and smarter, so to speak, and understanding your numbers better?
Yeah, I mean, I always used the analogy of like just throwing darts at a dartboard, right? Like I've always used that analogy of like I showed up and I hustled really hard and maybe I was a little bit too dumb and I worked so hard. Like, I've always used that analogy of I'm either insane or I just like had the grit to do it. But it was just like every day I showed up and it was like, yeah, we got things done and things happened, but there was still a significant amount of chaos, right? Because it was just do the thing, right? That was the only motive. Do the thing, get the job done, grow, 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 do. And it went from understanding, well, how do we do? What are we doing? What are the projects that we should be doing and focusing on? What is my average ticket? What is my conversion rates? What is, and then setting those back into metrics that make sense for the goal that I'm trying to attain. And then from there, the next level of that is understanding the company metrics, but then understanding enterprise value. And then I understood per se, but I didn't have the level of understanding I do now, right? And what most people don't genuinely understand is when you're building a company of enterprise value, $1 to your EBITDA is $10 in your exit. So if you add $1 to your bottom line, it's really $10 to your piggy bank / retirement account / exit of this thing, right? And most people get caught up of like, oh, we've grown by $10,000, right? And then, but did you grow by 10,000 EBITDA or did you grow by 10,000 revenue? And if it's EBITDA, that's $100,000 more on your exit that you're going to get paid. And, understanding that has been very, very interesting because it lengthens the time horizon you look at the company at. Of course, you still have to have micro goals. We still have 90-day sprints. We still have quarterly goals. We still have annual goals, all of that type of stuff. But you still need to look at it as like, okay, what's the 3-year, 5-year? And like most people don't realize that, everybody's like, I want to sell my company in the next 3 years. Most people aren't prepared to sell their company in the next 3 years. It's really, really hard to have really good, clean financials unless you're taking all of this stuff into account from day one. It really is. You got to have clean financials. There has to be consistent growth. If you have one shit year, it doesn't work. Like the investor says, nope, there's a risk here, and really like making you, a lot of people look at it as, I want to exit. Well, what do you want to exit for? And then it's, okay, well, I want to exit for, I don't know, I could get a $2 million, but I'm like, hey, you're at $700,000 of EBITDA. If you work one more year on your growth trajectory, you could take a $2 million exit to a $10 million exit. Like, and understanding what those metrics are.
I think there's a massive misconception with a lot of people in the industry, not just asphalt, but the service-based industry. Like a lot of people think that if they're doing $300,000 in revenue, that they could go and sell their company for 900,000, like a 3-time multiplier on the revenue. And it has nothing to do with your revenue. It has everything to do with your EBITDA, your cash, your net cash at the end of the year that's sitting there on that bottom line that you're literally looking at. If you don't know what EBITDA is, we can drop, Matthias, drop a link in there so that people can read up on it. But it's like, that misconception is huge, man, because a lot of people are like, listen, I've got a $500,000 a year business right now. And it's like, no, you don't have a $500,000 a year business. You've got a $500,000 revenue per year business. But when it comes down to the actual net profit of your company and you look at what that really is on your bottom line, and then they're like, yeah, but I mean, I've got all of these assets too. I've got $300,000 worth of equipment in there. And it's like, okay, well, you've got $300,000 worth of equipment. I have great news for you. You could liquidate the equipment that's going to have a higher value than what the value of your company is. So you might as well just sell your equipment off. Don't sell your company. And it's like, that's such an important takeaway for all of you right now is like, your equipment's either going to be valued higher than what your enterprise value is, or it's not. And the question is, who here wants to sell equipment that's going to be at a higher value than your business? I know nobody should be raising their hand. We should be building businesses that have some great enterprise value. And Skylar, like, when I say this, and this is like for all of you just starting out or seasoned vets in the industry here, I'm going to say this. Your systems and processes need to be developed yesterday. Like your system needs to be developed yesterday. You know, AK Dash is a piece of that, but it's not, it by no means is it all of it. It's a micro fraction of it. It's like an ultimate sales machine. That platform will keep data in there in your customer database, and it will allow you to operate the sales processes and connect calendars, and it will API to QuickBooks. But at the end of the day, it's like, how are those financials truly speaking? Do we understand what a profit and loss is? Do we understand what a balance sheet, cash flow analysis, like, do we understand that stuff?
And I think when we talk about the systems too, most people think that it is easy as like AK Dash on the EBITDA ad, right? They're like, okay, yeah, I got it. Like, what do you mean? I just that cleaned up my structure. I'm like, yeah, but you still need your internal structure of the company. Like, you know, AK Dash can organize all your stuff, but if you don't know how to run it, and if I can't instantly use your system, if I can't walk in and say, hey, I want to use AK Dash, and you don't have an internal company SOP of how you use that, how you use AK Dash and what the use is for and how you're doing the thing, right there, multipliers out of EBITDA falls out. And a lot of guys, I think, you know, really don't understand that. And, you know, there's a lot that can factor in the, you know, sale value and different things. And, but yeah, I mean, it's really important from day one, right? Like the biggest thing I want for each and every one of you is not to have an overpaid job, right? You know, because that's what a lot of people do. They have an overpaid job, and understanding these things from the beginning, it's so much easier to do it then, right? Like it's so much easier to do the first truck and the first logo right than to have 5 trucks and a whole company and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars of material that gets changed, rebranded, and thrown away, right? Like we did that. You know what I mean? We did that at the $1 million level where we rebranded and did the thing, and it's so much more expensive. It really is. Like if I would have just, you know, it probably cost me 150 grand instead of 30, 40 grand that I could have done from the very beginning, or, you know, whatever that is with the firm and company you work with. But yeah, I mean,
Agreed.
we, again, for us, we've done, you know, very similar, 25 to 50% organically year over year. We crossed $1 million already this year. So we're very well on our trajectory, for like 50% this year. So
It's amazing, bro.
Yeah, so it's a good year. A lot of moving parts, and these systems developed, and you know now it's communication channels and SOPs and all of that type of stuff where you know can be the constraint and the bottlenecks of things when you add moving parts. You know.
Yep. Agreed. Thank you for that. Any questions from anyone on here? Questions. I know that if you can kind of, anyone on here who's new or who comes back on the round table, you just introduce yourself and then come in with a question or any advice that you're looking for, like Nick and Scott, Zach. I know we've got other people off camera. Mike, do you guys have any questions that are specific for us based upon your journey?
And guys, don't let the exit question intimidate either, right? Like, or the exit knowledge. Like, I 100% know what it's like to be working 100 hours a week and getting this thing off the ground and like really like creating a business, right? Like, I didn't start from zero because I acquired, but I basically did because I acquired systems, processes, and the thing, and none of that was there. So all I had was equipment and a shop and okay, some basic knowledge of, hey, this is how you seal coat.
And because of your lack of knowledge, you overpaid for it.
Yeah, I lost like $750,000. The real evaluation, $750,000. Like reality is probably what I lost. Like literally cash, 750 grand. I lost because I didn't understand what these things meant at the time. So when I bought the business, I was like, oh yeah, great. You know, oh, the owner's taking an $80,000 salary, but it's not a true replacement salary, right? And that's like one of my favorite examples to give. $80,000 owner pay, right? If I wanted to hire a CEO or operations manager to take that position right now, it would cost me 120 grand to run the company, to be me. minimum. So that difference from 80,000 to 120,000, that $40,000 is $120,000 I blew. You know what I mean? That's one little example. Now you do that over and over. I didn't buy a company with a CRM. If I had the database I had, growing this, doing this, and implementing would have been so much easier. I had to take all of the information, all of the data, and input it and create this stuff. You know, I didn't have the AK dash when I bought the company. I had to take paper files and turn these into systems so I could actually create what I have now. Like, there was so many different things that, you know, factored into the acquisition. And again, like, it's kind of what makes me really passionate about it. It's what makes me, I've learned a lot. And this learning lesson just happened to be a hard one, right? I pre-write posts. I don't know if you guys have been following some of my stuff now, and it's just thoughts to myself, right? And it's kind of like my journal. I've switched my approach of, this is my journal of life. This is how I'm going to look back on this journey, because we don't always get to capture it. And I've made a lot of quick decisions, and some of those decisions paid me, and some of those decisions I paid for. Those were the old trucks. I think that's my old
Awesome.
profile.
This is for the pro striping workshop that you're coming up from on the 4th and 5th at your place. And then your talks to yourself are right here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Love it. Awesome. Well, as always, Scholar, man, thank you for pouring into everyone. You're a superstar, bro.
Anything I can do.
Everyone, just so you know, like, Scholar's like a 85-year-old in a 25-year-old body. Like, he's gone through so much stuff and is one of the most intelligent, hardworking, super driven, super passionate, like overly, incredibly passionate, which is awesome, because you get to coach people into a place of actually getting shit done. That's such a huge thing. And, you know, like, all of your coaching clients that you've worked with always come out the other side and they're closing deals and happy with where they're going, and they're building businesses. It's special stuff, man. You know, like, I'll say this, on the round table here, we could come on and we could talk about, you know, driving up to a driveway or a parking lot and getting out of your truck and going up to the door and knocking on the door and saying, hey, you know, I'm in the neighborhood and we're seal coating driveways. I've got some material in my tank and would love the opportunity to seal your cracks and seal coat your driveway or parking lot. And that's a badass truck. And we'd love the opportunity to be able to do this project for you. And, you know, those things, I'll just tell you, we've got a ton of those videos and resources on AK already. If you just go up to the top of Asphalt Kingdom and you go to the resource section, I mean, you guys, I know you guys, a lot of you have already seen videos at the Yin Yang, probably on the YouTube channel. Who here has watched like 100 million videos on the AK YouTube channel? Probably everyone. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, those videos all exist, but talking about the stuff that is sometimes a little bit higher in vibration, that's more challenging, pushes us to grow, I think is important. Certainly on the trajectory, you know, when I think back to where I started in the very, very beginning with the 5-gallon pail to where things are now, literally influencing an industry and changing an industry, disrupting the blue collar worker kind of image by saying, hey, you know what, we can all see each other as friends, and we can go out there and build things together and not see each other as competition. And getting on here is creating more competition. We see it as unity and collaboration. It's a special thing. So that growth though was not easy. What questions? Come on, guys, come out with some questions. Get this pot stirred. What questions? Robert Ramos, what's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? Come on. Don't be shy, Robert.
Very good, sir. How are you? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. How's your season going, man?
Yeah, we're good. We just jump on some commercial right now.
You've been busy?
Yeah, but at this moment, we just only going to slow now.
You're going into slower season now, right? Towards the tail
Yeah.
end as you start going into the fall in Canada, right?
Yep.
Are you happy with your season?
Of course, always.
I remember the day you started, brother.
Yeah.
This is
So now that
3 years?
running for 3 years, yeah.
Congrats, brother. You're doing commercial projects?
Yeah, so there's a few how do you that few universities and then one commercial plaza.
Beautiful.
So I have
Congratulations,
now
man.
thank you. Thank you.
Any questions for us, brother? Or are you just coming on and saying hello?
I'll just come in and say hello.
So good to see your face. I also see another incredible dude on the screen here, Mr. Tim Penny. What's up, brother? You're driving, so be careful.
What's up, man? Of
How's
course,
everything?
of course. I had to hop on, man. It's going great, going great. Getting to the last couple of stores that my parents have. Went to a church today. They stopped by and saw my work, and they wanted me to come check out their property. So I went and checked out that. And then I got a lady in North Carolina who the HOA wants me to do a reseal coat and crack seal on their whole street. So, you know, again, just word of mouth, just seeing what I've done at the McDonald's is really kind of starting to get some good words out, and you know, people are starting to see and believe in what we do. So again, going back to, I mean, everything that you taught me and the opportunity that I had to learn from you guys is, you know, it's been amazing. And you know,
Proud of you.
I love it as much as I do as the day that you guys came down, and you know, we had a great time. So, and enjoying it, and you know, no end in sight here. The weather's beautiful here.
I can see that, man. You got a seal coater tan, bro.
Hey, man. Hey. Still got
Nice.
It's covered in seal coat. It's covered in seal coat. I'm gonna need a new one, man.
I'll send you one over for sure. Actually, let's get Robert. Can you do me a favor, brother? Can you send April a message and send to Hector's address? Send 3 caps over there for me, if you don't mind. Thanks, bro. You got 3 caps on the way.
I appreciate it, man. Love to keep the word out. Love to know where the people see where I got everything from. So always wear when I'm out seal coating.
We love you, brother. Keep pushing the limits, man. Let's go. Let's do it. And I'll see you soon enough. We got you. I'm sure your parents have been keeping in touch. So we're gonna be there soon enough.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait.
Let's go, brother. Let's go. Cool. I gotta love you too, bud. Nick. What's up, man? Talk to us, bro. You're just behind the camera there. Tell us everything. What's going on in your world, man? You starting a business? You in the business? Tell us more. Nova Scotia.
Yeah. So this is my first summer starting. It's going pretty good. It's been a lot of learning recently. A lot of videos, a lot of on the fly learning. You know, kind of. It's yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you're having?
People are, they're used to really, really low prices, and we just can't match them. And so we're offering a bit higher than they're used to. And, you know, sometimes I lose to some smaller competitors that they're doing it for, they're breaking even. I don't know how they do it, but you know, it's.
So I have a question for you. Let me guess. I'll just guess. My guess is that that's residential, correct?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly residential. Scott, are you dying to sing something right now? I saw him grab his phone.
That was value, brother.
So let me tell you this.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
For me, that's always like my one line: sell with value. Deliver more value than what the customer's, you know, expecting. They're expecting their driveway to be seal coated. Deliver more value than that. Deliver more brand. Deliver more professionalism, and make it hard for the customer to say no, because anybody can seal coat, right? At the end of the day, but it's how much value and how much need are you giving the client.
I will also say that the residential jobs, you're going to have a lot more people that for some reason feel way more comfortable knocking on residential doors than they do knocking on small commercial or mid-sized commercial jobs. Because it's like scary, right? Knocking on commercial jobs and being like, man, this is a big job for me to do, man. I'm nervous about what they're going to say. I'm worried about maybe not getting through to the right person. I have to make sure that my proposal looks right for them. It's not just like knocking on a residential door or running some Facebook ads and getting some leads in. It's like commercial's the big scary thing. And I'm like, man, I'll tell you what, I'm not in the service side of the business. I coach companies, and our coaching team coaches companies that are just starting out right up to multiple 7-figure companies. And so when we're coaching, what I say is this: do we understand what it's going to take to actually go out and make real frickin' money, like real money? Do we understand what it's going to take to do that? Because the majority of people don't. Billy, great rocket ships. I love that. You've got that Zoom effect. But the truth is that if you're hunting squirrels or you're fishing for perch, then that's what you're going to catch, or that's what you're going to get. And so I'm not saying that you should completely remove the mindset from doing residential, Nick. All I'm saying is that maybe from the videos that you've watched and what you have got into, you're in a spot where it's highly competitive. And also, I would say to you, be cautious, my friend, of staying in there too long, because that spot right there will never get you rich. If you want to get rich off this industry, you have to become not a residential seal coating company. You have to become a pavement asset management company. If you want to get rich, if you want to make a lot of money. Nick, you're not trained yet on going out and hunting $50,000 jobs. You're not trained yet at getting 50, do the math. You're not trained at getting 50 $85,000 bids out at a 25% conversion rate, equaling 12 and a half jobs at that number to get there. Do you follow me? That's $600,000. And so what we need to think about is Matt Phillips, was it $37,000 the last month? Is that what he said? 237,000. Is that what I heard Matt Phillips say earlier in this meeting? I think it was that number. We'll just say over 200 grand. He is not doing that through residential work. And I know that when you speak with Matt Phillips as to where he is right now in his journey, if he could go back, what he would do is learn what he would need to do what he's doing now sooner. That's what he would do. I'm not saying that you don't learn from your past and I hadn't needed to go down that trail to get to where I am now. I'm just saying there's this service road that you can take with your business, or there's a fast lane. Straight up. And so when you think about
one thing too.
Go ahead.
Sorry, bro. I might have had a delay. I had to pause for a second. I thought you were paused. I think if there's one thing too with the commercial side of things, like that mostly I see with clients, is the only thing that's scary for them is the numbers. And you can't shop from your wallet. You got to shop from what you can sell for. Even our salesmen, everybody, right? Like this is something we say to our salesmen kind of over and over. Realize the $50,000 parking lot project for them is not expensive. It's a $10 million budget they have. So 50 grand for them to spend is nothing. And that is the key to commercial, really. Just don't be scared of the numbers. We see that more than anything.
Like, I'm going to share my screen, but check this out. Let me ask you guys this. Are you going to take the time to go draft a really professional proposal that's custom tailored to a customer that is a residential driveway that you're going to do for $400? Not me. Let me ask you a question. Would you create a custom tailored proposal that was emotionally compelling with the right scopes of work that had great margins built into it if it was a $4,000 opportunity? Would you custom tailor the proposal? Let's say that custom tailored proposal took you through a system and it took you a total of 20 minutes to do. Would you do that for $4,000 that had 65% margin attached to it? Would you do the same thing for a $50,000 project? Would you do it for 100,000? Would you do it for 150? You see, we need to start to identify what actually warrants the need to go and draft a professional proposal. And so when I think about this stuff, guys, I'm like, okay, cool. If we are delivering a proposal or a pavement assessment's the give that we spoke about earlier. The actual proposal is a proposal with pricing. Pavement assessment doesn't have pricing, proposal has pricing, to be clear. There are two different stages in your deal pipeline. Pavement assessment converted to proposal. The further along that you get in your pipeline, the more likely you are to win a deal. So pavement assessment is an earlier stage in your pipeline. Proposal is the next step, which brings you closer. But if we deliver a pavement assessment that actually has the client's name, the project name, and the address, and your logo on it, and your logo up here, and you have an executive summary about your company, the most advanced pavement management company in the country, or whatever verbiage you want to adjust that to, these are the things that matter most to clients, and we have mastered them. Safety, service, savings, your logo. And then you go into a PACER scale that actually gives the pavement a rating on where it is in its life cycle stage. So this one, in this case of this example, it's 5. You've got your logo down here. And then you've got your areas that need attention, and you've got photos that can be enlarged, and you've got a description next to each. And you have your logo at the bottom. And your logo at the bottom. And you have the measurement of the map of the plaza to show them the actual square footage, 33,571 square feet with your logo at the bottom. And then you have the recommended action plan. And each one of these portions of the action plan is specifically designed to be emotionally compelling for the reader. So if it's somebody who's responsible for the pavement and it's a school, it would be safety. If it's a car dealership, it would be more aesthetic. And so multiple areas of concern need attention to address immediate safety concerns. Address newly formed cracks that require remediation and new sealer application. Address blah, blah, blah. Have that all built out in there. Again, no pricing. The main parking lot, the pavement at this address can be restored as safe, long-lasting. The privilege to work with your company on this project, and you put your logo in. And all of a sudden, you have something that's very different than what we would do at the residential market. Because you have the sales assets that are needed in order to go after commercial work, and you understand what that 5-step close process looks like that we use and coach our clients into building multiple 7-figure companies. Some are building 8-figure companies in this industry using the same process. I have a video on that 5-step close process that I've detailed. If you guys want access to that video, it's a 7-minute video. But I only share that with people inside of our circle. If you guys want it, shoot me an email, Judd, Judd, at asphaltkingdom.com, and I'll buzz you the link. It's a completely unlisted video on YouTube. If you want access to it, I'll give it to you. Just send me an email and I'll send it over to you. But again, the bottom line is, like, Nick, if you had what you needed from a knowledge perspective and you were coached and trained into actually going out to hunt and build a commercial pavement management solutions business, and you understood that you're not capable of going to pave jobs like asphalt in Nova Scotia Because you don't have a roller and a paver doesn't mean that you can't understand how to market and sell those jobs to have some other people help you to achieve those jobs through performance partnerships. You just need to be coached and trained. You see, some people invest into high-level education to become an expert at what it is that they want to learn so they can then go practice. What happens in the services and the trades industry is that the majority of people never invest into the proper training and coaching. And so they try to just wing it the best that they possibly can. So what we're trying to do at Asphalt Kingdom constantly is help you guys to understand that we are here for you. We don't charge franchise fees. We don't sell territories. We don't do any of that kind of stuff other than saying, let's pour into each other. Let's pour into your business. Let's grow and scale it, for goodness sakes, and let's build an empire in the industry that exists. It's right in front of you. And that's really, really what I want to get through to you guys is I'm fully convicted. I'm fully passionate. 25 years. Our coaches, people in our business like that are inside Asphalt Kingdom. You heard Matt Phillips say it. You've heard other people say it. You've heard Tim say it. You've heard people say it time and time again. Pour into your business and yourself. This industry is unstoppable, guys. It's right in front of you. Zach, you've got your hand up. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on something that happened to me the other day. A contractor called me out for a parking lot to look at it for striping. And he got to asking me about seal coating. And so I was like, yeah, and it needs to be seal coated. And he agreed. And he was asking me my pricing. And I, like an idiot, I gave him my pricing for striping and seal coating. And he was I heard him and his son talking. They're going to seal coat it. This is over 40,000 square foot, and they're going to squeegee every bit of it. And they didn't even know they were going to seal coat around their striping and just have me stripe around, restripe what was already there, but not seal coat over it. And I'm just wondering, would it make me a snake if I reached out to that customer behind them? Because I don't want to work with those guys after.
So you're saying they called you in to look at a project to give them pricing and that you don't want to work with them, but possibly you'd be backdoor. You're wondering if it would be like an unethical backdoor tactic to go after that customer afterwards?
Right. Yes.
I mean, personally, that's a very, very dangerous world to play in. Be cautious. I'd be interested in hearing other people's input on that. But at the end of the day, you know, there's an ethical aspect that you want to roll with. And it's like, keep your enemies closer, you know, be cautious. Right. So any advice around that? It's so delicate that everybody's hesitating to talk about it. It's pretty awesome. Billy, go ahead.
Well, when they told me they were going to seal coat around the striping, I'm like, man, this poor customer, like, they said they're going to seal coat it all in 3 days, but I'm like, they're asking me how much I paid for a 5-gallon bucket of sealer, and I'm like, I
don't even understand why they'd go around the stripe. It would take them longer to seal coat it if they were going around the parking lines. It's crazy. Why are they doing that?
I don't think they know. They're not a seal coat company.
What do they do exactly?
I think he's an industrial painter.
Tell him you want to do the whole job and you'll give him a kickback. Tell him you'll give him 10% off the top line.
Okay.
And make sure you have lots of margin on it. Lots of margin. Understand your true underlying costs, not just your material costs, your COGs, but make sure you understand your cost of service, all your labor costs, any travel time, like make sure you understand all of that before you quote it, and make sure there's lots of profit in there for you if you're paying that top line.
Well, I highly doubt if he's buying 5-gallon buckets, if he's going to get the price that you would for the majority of the parking lot. And remember, it's only one job that you've told him this. So like Judd said, keep your enemies closer. Know that you will never do that again to somebody else. I mean, it was a mistake for one job. You've learned from it, you know, and just take that as a lesson for anybody else who asks that kind of question. Just be very cautious.
Yeah, I left, man. I felt like an idiot. I was like, man, I think I just got used up a little bit, but
Hey, Zach, why don't you try this? Tell them you'll give them an opportunity to instead of tell them how they can do it better, because just be honest with them. Say, hey, fellas, I don't think y'all are approaching this right. Why don't y'all work with me on this job? I'll show y'all what to do. We'll set it up, and then I'll break y'all. You can break them in like a laborer, and they get experience, and you're kind of not creating another enemy, you know. And you're making your competition better, because if we all are producing better product, it's going to help the industry in a whole.
Great feedback. Great advice, I should say, not feedback.
There's so many options and opportunities to be the continuity on something like that too, right? Like there's so many different ways. You do the job, give them 10% top line. You do the job with them and split the profits. You do the job and, they can be laborers for you, whatever, or if they can't source material and you can be like, hey man, I'll come park my tank here for the day and make 10, 20, 30, 40% on material for them, because I'm sure it's going to be way cheaper than the $10 a gallon they're paying out of a Home Depot bucket. Like there's so many ways to provide value and be continuity. And that's really our job as business owners. That's where the magic lies in owning a business, is connecting A and B and get C. And just, again, think about if, say, you can make $2,000 net on a job that you don't touch or you just drop, and you would have had to been out 8 hours a day working your tail off to do that. What lever do you want to pull in the business? Where are the higher leverage opportunities, and just be the continuity and get rich in being the continuity. It's exactly how super brokers work, right? It's 100% what happens. They're the continuity to the magic. Become the continuity in all aspects, as long as it makes sense and everybody can get paid.
Boom. Scott, what's happening on your side, man?
Exploring, new to the business. I left my corporate job a little over a year ago. Been in the ag space my whole life, dairy precisely. Working with dairy farmers, selling equipment through dealers and technology, and don't really want to go back to the corporate space. So I've been looking around for something that's interesting to listen to the conversation on business valuation. I've been looking for businesses to buy, and it's fascinating the prices people and how they come up. Well, first of all, they don't know how they come up with the prices. When you ask them, it's just sort of a number that they derive out of magical thin air. It's quite interesting to have those conversations. And I actually fell into this side of the business. I did come across a franchise resale here in Atlanta, and I started that conversation with them. So I've talked to a couple of franchises, but I'm really struggling trying to understand the value that they're bringing for the money I'm going to pay them year over year. And interestingly, I've asked one of them, I think by my count now it's 3, maybe 4 times, if I'm going to pay you all this money every year, what am I getting for it? I don't mind paying it if there's value that I'm going to get from it. And the standard answer I'm getting back is, well, we have a network and we have an app and everybody can talk to each other. And I told them the other day, I said, look, if I'm going to pay you, the equivalent salary of an operations director or manager, I don't need a network and an app. I can get a network somewhere else and an app somewhere else. So I actually stumbled upon you folks just doing some research, and I'm really trying to understand if the industry is as good as what I'm hearing, margins and it was interesting. Someone threw out 65% gross margin. I hear that from the franchise folks that 50 to 65% gross margin is typical, whatever that means. They're talking about high close rates if you're professional and you're quoting properly and you're presenting yourself properly and you build. So I'm just trying to figure out if the story is real or if it's you know, one of the franchises says that, you know, and the franchisees I've talked to say they have a 50% close rate because you know, they're showing up, they're professional, their quotes are professional. You know, and I come from corporate world and sales. I've been a territory manager, I've been a director of sales. Somebody tells me they've got a 50 to 60% close rate, and I go, do you really? So you know, this is just for me, I'm just trying to figure out what's real, what's fiction, and if I do want to get in this business, and it's looking more and more interesting to me, especially coming from my ag background. I'm used to being around projects, I'm used to being around equipment, I'm used to presenting quotes, I'm used to going out and hunting for business on the commercial aspect. So I'm just trying to understand. My first decision is, do I want to do a franchise, or is there a different path out there that I don't really need that network and those fees, and still end up where I want to go? I'm not looking to buy. I'm not looking to buy myself a job. I don't want to open up a UPS store and make and just buy myself one job. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm looking for something that I can grow and scale, and yeah.
So Scott, I'm telling Scott to hold on one minute, because we're smiling from ear to ear right now.
I see. I see him.
So let me explain a couple of things. One is, welcome to Asphalt Kingdom, first and foremost, where there are no franchise fees, there are no royalties, there are no territories that you need to buy. And we have the tech stack, just so you understand. Like with a franchise, you're going to be buying a tech stack, you're going to be buying a territory, and if you cross your territory, you're going to pay the other territories fees. You're going to probably pay 7.5%. You'll have to come up with 85 or 100 grand, probably more. You'll have to have cash and OpEx that's going to be sitting there in that probably that $150,000 range, maybe more. And so really what I will say to you is this. This is not our first rodeo. We've built businesses, whether they're residential seal coating businesses or whether they're building pavement asset management empires without owning a shovel, everything in between. So I just dropped you a private link right there. That is something that I think might be right up your alley. You're going to need to probably go through some coaching rather than going through your training with the franchise. And after you've paid those high fees, just to be clear, you probably want to go through coaching in both a virtual setting as well as an in-field setting. You're going to want to get connected to the system, the CRM, and the platform that's going to allow you to do your pavement assessments and proposals. And you're going to want to have a contractor network of people you can trust to go out there to do the work with you and understand those operating agreements and subcontractor agreements, all those pieces that are tied to that. This is not rocket science. What I will say is there are, and I don't mean to gash at franchises right now. There is value if you're somebody that wants to go work with another or for-ish another company, because that's really what it is. But if you're wanting to build your own enterprise value and build your own company that you can exit down the road, if that's what you desire, that can be done 100%. It happened time and time again. Visit that page that I've just shared with you. It's going to be important. You look at some of the case studies and testimonials that have come out of it, and you can start this business in an industry like ours for in around that $60,000 to $80,000 and go full swing into it, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the franchisees I've talked to, and I've talked to several now. You know, the one message that keeps coming through clearly is, you know, you pay the fees and they give you, you know, your CRM and your quoting tool and whatever. But at the end of the day, and I know this just from my real life experience, it's up to you to build the business. You know, they all say that same thing. It's almost a direct quote from each other. It's up to you to build the business. They're not going to do it for you. And I keep going back in my brain thinking, why am I paying them? So I'm just trying to really, I'm just trying to get my mind around this. I'm listening to some of these franchisees. You know, they're talking about top line revenue, $500,000-$600,000 their first year. I talked to him the other day. He's in his second year. He's saying he's on target to be 750 or 800,000 top line revenue. I mean, that's pretty fast growth from a startup. It seems, but I don't know. It's a question to you guys. If somebody says, hey, I started in March last year and I did $500,000 and I'm going to do 800,000 this year, my second year, is that all things considered, you're doing the right things and you're getting out and you're doing the quotes, blah, blah, blah. Are those realistic numbers?
Well, I'll give you an example, okay? Like Jason Morales out in Denver, Colorado, who we started last August, who knew nothing about asphalt, has $59 million in his pipeline right now, and he's closed 1.9 million in sales since he started with our company, and he doesn't own a shovel.
It seems like an intrigue. You know, I went to a Sealright depot here in Atlanta, and I spent the better part of the day with the CFO and hung out on the docks and talked to people coming in, feeling their seal coat machines, just to get a flavor of the business from, you know, sort of the feet on the ground. And that's what was interesting for me to join this meeting. You know, there's no skin in the game. You guys don't care if I join the business or not. Let's be real. I mean, okay, you do, but so it's interesting to be able to talk to people who are living the business and sort of sharing their experiences without trying to sell me a high price franchise fee or something like that. So it's just, you know, the other thing I did that I found interesting was I actually reached out to a couple large property management firms here in Atlanta and spent some time on the phone with people who buy the business and got their perspective on it. And everybody I talk to, I keep coming up with the same answer. This seems like a really interesting, profitable business to get into. So now it's just a matter of, okay, if I don't go down the franchise, is there a network and systems out there that I can put together and still create the same sort of package without spending, you know, a couple $100,000 on territories and, you know, all this other stuff. So.
But send me an email, judd@asphaltkingdom.com, Scott, JUDD @asphaltkingdom.com. I'll hop on a Zoom meeting with you. I'll show you under the hood.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing. Save your couple $100,000, brother, and I'll just show you a little bit under the hood. If it makes sense to you, great. If it doesn't, then you know, then we shake hands and we high five. But ultimately, whether someone wants to do a residential seal coating business or whether somebody wants to be a pavement broker in an industry that exists where there's an opportunity to operate as a premier pavement management solutions business, anywhere in between that. So really this comes down to, do I want to self-perform or do I not want to self-perform? Do I want to do a little bit of both? And that's really, there's a you know, if you kind of lay out, and this is for everyone on here, just to be clear, guys, like in 18 months from now, where do you want to be? Like, where do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to be living in 18 months from now? Because if you can show me the what, like where you want to be in 18 months from now, I've built a multiple 8-figure company. I understand in this industry, by the way. So I understand not just from actually going out and doing the work, but actually helping other people do the same thing. If you can show me the what, I can show you the how. I just need to understand where you want to be in 18 months from now. A lot, you know, people come down to Anguilla and they'll pour out their hearts. I mean, you know, they'll pour out their hearts and they'll say, here's where I want to be. I'm going to do these workshops and we're going to go through this stuff and we're going to dream big. And it's like, for people who've come to our roundup events, it's the same thing. It's like, tell me what you're really wanting in your life in 18 months from now. What is it? And then let's build something around that. If you want to be a $100,000 company and you want to have a bottom line that's sitting there at $42,000, then we have to set up the plan to achieve that. And you have to have your revenue roadmap set and your financial targets set in AK Dash, and then you have to be held accountable to achieve it. If you set your targets and your revenue roadmap up to be 2.8 million with a GP that's going to be sitting at 890,000, then we have to set up that map and we have to hold you accountable to that. We need to know what your critical drivers are. Are we going to set up a pavement assessment appointment setter that's following the cold call script to be able to book your calendar up, Scott? Like, so you're going out to do those assessments, closing those deals and having performance partners. We've got everything that is available to you, the processes and systems, and it's not our first rodeo. So no matter where anyone is, it's like, tell me and I'll be happy to guide you. Tell our coaches are happy to guide you. That's really why we're here. It's like, the round table is here to pour into each other, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a push-pull opportunity where we can grow together. And that's really what comes outside of these meetings, right?
One other thing I've picked up in talking to all these, either whether they're franchisees or people just independently in the business, they've all come to the same conclusion very quickly. And they all say basically the same thing. And Nick, if this is valuable for you, fine. I don't come from this business, but I can only tell you what I've heard from the other people who are living the business. they said, I've done 3 or 4 driveways. I'll never do driveways again. I got to stick to the commercial if I want to make the money. And they almost immediately left the residential driveways behind, so they could scale their business in the commercial. I'll tell you personally, I have no interest in residential driveways. I can't imagine why I would waste my time on a driveway, but that's just me.
Yeah, and that's why with that brokerage, the pavement brokerage deal that we do, we have a $500,000 guarantee. That's a part of it that we're going to get you there. And so we can't do that with residential. The only way that we make money at Asphalt Kingdom on that super broker deal is if we get you to that $500,000 point as quickly as we can. Otherwise, I have to work with you until we do. And that costs me a lot of money if we go past a certain period of time, which is usually 5 months. So that's a really important piece. You know, and that's really for driveway. For residential stuff, it's like anyone who just is hunting residential on here, to be clear, you're not going to get rich doing that. You're not. Well, it depends what rich is to you, I guess, right? If you want to make a couple $100,000 a year and you want to have a business that you're out doing, you know, hundreds of driveways every year, then you can do that. But if you want to go and you want to build a business where you can have a company that's, you know, a $3 million company with an EBITDA that's sitting there in that million range, ideally, and you have a 4-time multiplier and you have a $4 million enterprise, that's a lot more sexy to me than the other.
Well, I'm in Greenville, and over the next 4 years, Greenville's spending $1 billion repaving roads. So, I mean, you do the simple math on how easy it is to make money out here. 4 years, $1 billion. It's there. It's everywhere.
Scholar, can I pass this meeting? I'm popping off. Are you sticking around for a minute or?
Yeah, I got a few minutes. I think there's a couple of things that, you know, I can pitch
Cool.
in as well.
Cool. Great stuff. Guys, have a great night. I've got to go take my wife and the kiddos out for dinner here. They've been waiting patiently. So have a beautiful night. Scott, I hope that we can chat, and anyone else on here, you guys have my email address, man. Ping me and I'm happy to help. And there's no charge to get on that call with me, guys. It's just advice me pouring into you. And hey, if there's an opportunity down the line, cool. If not, then we keep growing. Let's just do it. Appreciate you guys. See ya.
Scott, so to answer any questions too about margins, 50-60% margins in this business is very, very real, right? Like, again, we'll probably end the year at $1.5 million, a little over. 50-60% is 100% where we hold on gross margin. We're actually in the path to get to 80%. Really, that is the main focus at this point, is to really increase this, because when you're growing by 50% plus year over year, like, you need that cash to fuel all of those things, right? Especially when you're adding a ton of enterprise value, right? In a service-based business, I have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of equipment sitting in my shop. So to be able to do those things, right? Like, it's 100%. One of the main things we're working with our CFO on right now is how do we take those margins and where can we shave 1%, 5% here and there, and really get it to the point where that cash gap for a service-based business really, really makes sense. Material sourcing, things like that, you know, we've done really well with that this year. You know, we lowered all major materials by 40%. So now imagine, you know, a company at our scale, what that means to the bottom line. You know, those things are huge in this business. What else did you say? What were the other questions? The scalability, it's 100% there. You know, again, Tim gave a great example. And when you start to understand that where the projects are and how, like, a $3 million paved project or a $250,000 parking lot is very, very easy and very accessible, like, it becomes your normal thing, right? And you reach for higher leverage opportunities. But yeah, I mean, anything that you want to talk about on the buy, sell, you know, side of things, I could go with you all day on this stuff. Like, this is what I love, right? And then again, when you get into something like Judd was describing, it's more of a partnership where you have almost like a fractional COO, right? That's going to help and come in, and you have the support and the community there. And you just say, hey, actually, I have this point. Hey guys, I need to get past this little stick point. And then, you know, we help, and then disappear, and then you do your thing. And then,
or you have ongoing. There's so many different ways that, like, again, this is just one of the things we do. But, you know, where my passion lies, where I love to do is, you know, this side of things, especially on acquisitions, especially on someone that, you know, really understands enterprise value and they want to build a company of size and scale and what that means at a very, very top level. You know, we have 15 employees. We have an operations supervisor. You know, Dom is that. He's another coach here at Asphalt Kingdom. He joined forces with me here. So it's another opportunity that we have. We hold events, you know, multiple times a year for infield training. We have one-on-one sessions. There's so much here. And, you know, any of these guys, I see so many faces on here. Billy from day one, Zach from day one, Tim, you know, very, very early in the beginning. Like, we've all been around each other. And anytime, like, I get a call from any one of these guys, the community is here, you know? So I think, you know, really a good welcome is really what I'm trying to get at here, is like, this is what we show up for. We show up for this stuff. And again, it's some people that don't even have a business yet or just getting started, and some people that run, you know, multiple 7-figure businesses that are growing very, very fast. But there's a ton of opportunity. Well, guys, anybody else before we hop out? We're 15 past.
Good.
Everybody good? Everybody got their questions? All right. Billy, what you got over there? You normally got a good joke for us before the end of the.
Hey, I'm just trying to sell a horse before I race the Kentucky Derby. You know what I mean, Skylar.
I got you. All right, guys. Hey, have a wonderful night. Next Wednesday, 7 p.m. as always, AK Roundtable. Hope to see you all again.
Thank you.
Later.